What you see before you are a few examples of some of my favorite boards from this manufacturer. These are Akko boards. This is the 007, this is the 006, this is the PC75B Plus, and then we've got the new 5075S. These are 75% boards that hold incredible value. The metal construction of the cases on these are amazing. The value proposition of the plastic boards are amazing, and the build quality is not something to scoff at. You get all the features, you get all the foams, you get all the filling that you could want. A lot of these have alternate plates that you get as well, and they allow you to really customize your experience. But today, we're not here to talk about these awesome boards. Today, we're going to talk about one of Akko's new offerings, deviating from the gasket mount styles of these boards and kind of shifting off the trendiness of the gasket mount and leaning into a mounting style that people have loved for years. And we're talking about the Top 75. This is a top mounted board, and it's Akko shifting away from these trends to try something new, to try to bring something new to their lineup. So in addition to the spring that they're going to have, the SPR 65, they've got the ACR Top 75. This is the acrylic version, and we're going to take a look at this today. We're going to see what's in the box, and we're going to break it down and see what this is all about. So let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are looking at the ACR Top 75, so this is not the ACR Pro 75 that they already have, but this is a new mounting style board from Akko. Before we jump into this, I do want to let you know that Akko did send over a care package with this. They sent this board and some stuff to build it with, and I just wanted to let you guys know that before we get started. In no way will it alter my opinion on this, but if you guys have watched the channel before, you know that I do like Akko products, and I'm hoping that this will live up to the experiences that we've had previously. So this board is an acrylic version of the Top 75. This is a new board that's top mounted that they've kind of deviated away from gasket mounts. As you can see, it is a more compact but slightly exploded 75% layout. Probably should turn that around for you. There you go. So it does still have the nested arrow keys, and some of them are in the navs, but the F-row is exploded. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Now this does come, they are going to have an alu version of it, but they did send me the ACR version of it, so the acrylic version of it, which I'm really looking forward to checking out because I was very impressed with the Alice, and I had been considering getting a ACR Pro 75, so this is just icing on the cake. So you do get the typical manual. All their manuals are also available on their website. We get the PCB, which you might notice a particular thing about this Akko PCB. This PCB is south facing. It's a feature that people have been asking for a long time from Akko products. And with the introduction of the south-facing PCBs in the Mod 007 SV2, I think we're going to start seeing that a lot more. So here we also get, looks like a brass plate. Oh man. Look how polished that is. I haven't worked with a lot of brass plates, but the brass plates that I'm familiar with are not polished. So I wonder if this is, I mean, it feels like brass. I don't know if it's actually steel and then has been coated, but I'm very interested to see how this performs. We also get a nice coiled cable in true Akko premium board offerings. So it is not braided or anything like that, but it is a nice, decent coiled cable. And one of the cool things with this particular build, you get the stabilizers. They're not pre-installed, and from what I remember reading, they are also not pre-lubricated, which can be good for those of you who need that in a board, but or good for those that want to redo the stabilizers. But I'm looking here, and I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of lube on that stabilizer. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's talk about these stabilizers real quick. So these Akko stabilizers, they're plate mount stabs. These are kind of interesting. They're kind of like the TX stabilizers, and that they've got like a TPU material, and you can see the little black dot there. It has these, it's like double shot. So it's a softer material that eliminates the tick that you would normally get in a stabilizer. So these being lubed and then having that material, these should be perfectly adequate out of the box. What we will do though is once we get them installed, we'll also do some injection lubing to them to finally tune them. But I've had very good luck with Akko stabilizers. You also get a switch puller, which is nice. You get a little hex key that's got, this is interesting. So not only is it an Allen key on the end, the other end is also a Phillips screwdriver. So how about that? Pretty interesting. So we got these tools. I'm not going to need these because I have my own toolkit. We get our mounting hardware. So we've got some case screws. We're gonna set that aside. We've got some mounting screws for the plate. These are standoffs for the plate. Interesting. Yeah, well, I think we'll definitely need those since it's top mounted. But what they also include is this, and I think this is awesome. So we get these little gaskets. So essentially, they are providing you a customized burger mounting experience without having to go and get O-rings. And these are nice, thick silicone, so they should isolate really well. And then we also get a switch puller here, or excuse me, keycap puller. All right, so let's pop these in the box. And then, moment of truth. Okay. Maybe not quite the moment of truth. So what do we got here? We've got, okay, so we've got our fillers here. So we get, inside of this, we are getting like an IXPE sheet, sort of. And this is included in their lather board. So if you recall the Mod 007 build that we did, it had one of these sheets on it. And it was really nice. And instead of some sort of pour-on or other type of foam, we get a nice silicone bit of plate dampening. So that will come in handy. And then, now the moment of truth. Set this box aside. Okay. Oh. Oh. Yes. All kinds of yes. Check this out. That is beautiful. It's a two-piece acrylic design. It's frosted acrylic. Man, I love their frosted acrylic. It's so pretty. But it's got, if you can see here, we do get metal inserts to screw in our screws, so you're not at risk of cracking your acrylic when you go to screw it together. So I know that that should be pretty standard in any offering, but it's extremely important in this case because it's, you know, we're talking about a board that is $130. I forgot to mention that. This is only $130. You get a nice silicone insert. And that'll help with the sound absorption into the case, but it's also nice and, you know, semi-transparent in a way. So we're still going to get some nice lighting effects out of this. It comes with a daughter board. And it is a nice two-piece design. It's got feet. It's got the ACR on the back. I love the engravings for the ACR because it's there, but it's subtle, but it's fun. I don't really know how to express it any more than that. So this has got, it's already pre-installed. The daughter board is already pre-installed. It's got a little JST connector. It's got a little JST connector on the back of it, and then USB-C. And then your silicone fits right in here. And this nice, beautiful top slips right over it. It's a nice tight fitment. And it's almost seamless because the seam is on the bottom. So it's not like two halves that go together and you've got, you know, that ring around it. The top mount allows for this, and I'm very excited to do this. So let me just make sure that I have everything I need here. Okay, so this is what I was double checking. So usually Akko mid-tier boards, you have to attach the daughter board yourself, but it's already attached, but it also comes with the JST connector on the PCB. So let's go ahead and set this stuff aside and talk about what we're going to be putting on it today in terms of switches. Now, my original proposition to Akko was I have a series coming up next month where we're going to be doing a lot of RGB boards, and I wanted to build like this epic ultimate gamer board. And I've been wanting to build a gaming board for myself as well, just for general use. So I'm not having to put as much wear and tear on you know, an expensive board and expensive keycaps. And it's not to say that these are ultimate budget, but these are reasonable. These are not Satisfaction 75 with cherry GMK keycaps on them. You know, this is something that you can drive and feel okay driving it and not have to worry about it and still have a statement piece on your desk. So anyway, when I sent this request over, I requested some gaming switches, and I thought it'd be really nice to check out their POM Silvers. This is a new switch from Akko. These are kind of like NK creams, but they have the shorter travel of a speed switch and shorter activation. So these activate, I think, at like 1.2 millimeters, and they bottom out at 3 millimeters. And these are pretty nice. You can get them, if I recall, you can get them pre-lubed, hand-lubed. They're sold out as of this moment, or when as I'm making this video. But you should be able to get these, and they actually come apart fairly easily. They are cherry style, MX style latches. They come apart really easily. I was able to lube these up pretty quickly because these came dry, and not too shabby. So I'm looking forward to getting these on the board and really checking out some of these new products from Akko. So why don't we go ahead and get started getting the PCB assembly together. So since we have our PE foam sheet there, and there's our plate foam, we don't have to do any kind of modding. We've got our nice brass plate. My understanding is they are talking about offering additional plates. I know if it's Akko, I think we can expect a PC plate, but don't quote me on that. So we need to take a look and see where these standoffs go. Now I want to point out that again, in true Akko mid-tier board fashion, we do have the ability to run plate or PCB mount stabilizers. So we do have that functionality. So it does exist. So if you want to use your C3V3s, the new Akko ones, you can. For me, I'm just going to run these stock ones. I really actually like their plate mount stabs. I think they're, you know, I'm not a huge fan of plate mount stabs, but I also don't make a fuss about it because I think the technology has come along nicely. So today we're going to be using the same toolkit we always use. We're going to use our XOOL toolkit. These will always be linked in the description. In addition to that, if you like this board and you decide at any point during this video you want to pick it up, or these switches or these keycaps, I will have links to those in the description. They are affiliate links. So if you're interested in helping out the channel, I would strongly encourage that you use those to make an Akko purchase, and that will help me out to make sure that we can continue making nice content around these really cool products that we have. All right. Okay. All right, we got all four of those standoffs in. And then put our silicone, which now in retrospect, what I would do is I would just do that, because I mean that's kind of holding in those standoffs. Okay, and we got our nice beautiful shiny plate here. Get that lined up with the standoffs. There does appear to be a little bit of bowing or warpage in this, but when we get it mounted down, it will be fine. So these are Phillips heads. I don't know if this is a PH1. That was a PH0. Yeah, these are going to be ideally PH1. And then what I would do is just get them started. We're not going to screw them down tight. Get them started and then just kind of shift the plate around to make sure everything's lined up properly. These are chamfered, these screw heads, so it looks like they are going to help us with the alignment process themselves. There we go. Looking beautiful already. Look how reflective that is. All right, let's go ahead and get our switches on. And again, these are POM Silvers by Akko. I have hand lubed these. And we're going to see what kind of outcome we get with them. So let's go ahead and get started. There you have it. We've got our everything together. We've got our silicone dampener in there. We've got our fingerprints all over the plate. I did have to insert the stabs. I would recommend putting the stabs in before putting the plate on top and screwing it down. I did glance over that, and I had to move the silicone out a little bit here to be able to get that wire under. But this is a pretty hefty assembly, so it's pretty nice. So one thing I want to mention about these Akko trays, I did forget to mention that this is a 45-gram switch. These are speed switches. They're designed to be competitive with the like the MX Silvers. These trays that you get from Akko, if you need to lube your switches, these make a great lubing station. So you can line up all your bottoms, and then you can do all of your bottom housings while these sit in here like this, and you've basically got a free lubing station. So don't toss these out. You can use them for any number of switches in future builds and things. So let's set these aside and go ahead and prep our plate for mounting. We're going to use these little silicone gaskets. So don't get this confused with a gasket mount. These are not gasket mounted. So nothing is sandwiched here. It's screwed directly to the top. So looks like they are identical on both sides. So we're just going to slip these little socks over each one of these points. And this is kind of neat. I mean, I don't know that I've necessarily seen this exact execution before. I have seen similar executions, but I don't know that I've seen it exact like this. That one had a little bit of oddball fitment. So we are going to have to pay attention to that. Some of these do want to kind of push back up. But when we put our screws in, they will realign. Okay. So let's get our case over here. And then it's got the cutouts, so that way these little tabs, they slide right in. So let's flip her over. And then drop in that assembly. Like a glove. It's looking pretty dang good. Honestly, I kind of understand what some of the feedback was regarding the brass plate. I think it kind of adds a premium aesthetic to it, and the reflectivity of it is going to be really nice if you're running RGB, which again, these switches support as well. They've got LED cutouts. But I honestly would prefer like a frosted PC plate. I think that would really tickle my pickle. So if that becomes available, that's something I definitely want to order. Also, I'm not sure if anybody is aware of this, but if you do have the the mod 007, and you do not have the north-facing PCB or the south-facing PCB, there is discussion of a potential group buy to get those through Akko. They don't normally do group buys, but there has been, I think, enough demand for those PCBs for the older models that they may be running that. All right, there we go. Got it. One thing I want to note is you do not want to screw these down tight, even though there are nut certs in there. If you screw it down too tight, it will damage your acrylic. And on top of that, these little silicone gaskets, the little socks, if you screw it in too tight, it will go through the sock and you won't get the desired results. I also have one small complaint, but I understand, so I'm being a little nitpicky here. And if you see here, I was praising their nut certs that they used for the top mount, but there are no nut certs for the actual mechanism that holds the top and bottom together. So it's unfortunate, but I understand how it impacts the aesthetic that they're going for, and I understand the need to forego that. So let's get our JST connector here plugged in. Pretty easy. And then, well, that's kind of interesting. It's almost as if this was meant for a battery, so I wonder if this is included with another one of their wireless builds. Okay, so you got to be careful of the USB port here. And then once you got everything lined up, flip it over. And then we are going to use should be like a 1.5 Allen if I remember correctly. It'll either be a 1.5 or a 2. It's definitely a 2. 1.5 is too small. And again, with these, you want to be very careful. Do not overdo it. Just get them in to where they are snug enough to hold your back on. And then that is it. Do not screw them any tighter or you risk damaging the acrylic. All right, there you have it. Now I could get a little nitpicky about this. There were some, I wouldn't say alignment issues, but I mean it's plastic and you can clearly see, but I can't tell if it's an optical illusion or not. Because you can see there's kind of like, looks like some of the frosting is kind of rubbed smooth. So I can't tell if it's that or what, but I don't know. This looks, you tell me what you guys think. I think that looks killer. And we don't even have any RGB turned on. So this PCB does have, it does have underglow as well as per key. But I'm liking this so far. But why don't we talk about what we're going to be using to top it today. This is one of Akko's new keycap sets. This is their new JDA profile. This is a low profile keycap set, not in the traditional low profile sense, but more like lower than what we're used to from Akko in their ASA profile. So this is shorter than ASA, but unlike ASA, this does not carry a profile like ASA. They are more sculpted, and when looking at the images of this in comparison to some of their other sets, it seems very much like a shorter, slightly shorter OSA keycap set. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is their oh, I forget which, these are their Fuji keycaps. These are the new Fuji JDA. I thought they were World Tour, but they are Fuji. And the box that they are shipping in is different than your traditional ASA or cherry box, you know, the plastic clamshell. They are shipping in these really nice boxes now. Got additional keycap puller here. And they come in these individual trays. These are kind of like the trays that I like that come with your novel keys and things like that. So they're kind of a pain in the butt because they're individual, but at the same time they're also kind of great because they keep everything in place. So let's go ahead and put these keycaps on, and then we'll come back and we'll do a sound test. Already having some trouble getting out of the box. What I suggest doing in a case like this is you lift it up and then you use your finger to just gently push up, and then you can pull. Maybe I just have greasy fingers today, who knows. But anyway, let's get going. I'll see you on the other side. All right. Yeah, pretty nice. Again, I think it's $130 board, something like that. And the switches and the keycaps are very reasonably priced too. Again, those links will be in the description. One thing you do want to do is be careful about getting your fingerprints and lube on this frosted acrylic, because it does affect the frosted look of it. I did get a little bit here, so I'll have to clean it off with some rubbing alcohol when we're done. But I thought it sounded pretty decent. It definitely has a silicone type sound to it rather than a foamy sound. You may or may not like that. I mean, it sounds like a good solid plastic board. I do like the keycaps. The keycaps are pretty nice. Pretty enjoyable to type on. I like the sculpt. I like the dish. So I already use OSA and ASA on a lot of my boards, so I think we can safely incorporate this. The kitting is pretty decent. I was able to get enough, going here. There were enough delete and home and delete and up and page down and whatnot to facilitate a 65%, 75% in multiple different layouts. Whether you got a 2 or 3 or whatever. Pretty good keycaps kit. The colors are a little dull. It's not my favorite. But, that's a subjective thing. I think it still looks pretty damn good. Pretty impressed with the board. And, the RGB factor doesn't hurt at all either. That's pretty nice if that's what you're going after. A little crazy for my taste, but I have been kind of looking for like that ultimate gamer experience. So I very well could start using this. I think I might make this my gamer board. These switches are a lot better sounding than I expected, and maybe that's because of that isolated top mount mechanism. But either way, I think this is a good buy. So if you were to buy this all together, I believe, let me do the math here. So it's like $130 for the board, and then the switches are $20 per box. So that's, and you need 2 boxes to fill this, so that's $40. So that puts us at $170. And then the keycaps, I believe, are $50. So you're coming up just over $200. And if you're after this kind of acrylic looking, this acrylic look, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what this offers. Still no VIA support on the software, but overall we've got south-facing switches in an Akko board. That's amazing, and this is a great experience right here. Like if you're looking for acrylic, this is on point. This is solid. This is definitely a solid pickup. But again, if you're interested in picking any of this up, I do have links in the description. Cream Soda Switch is live right now. That group buy runs until the 16th of October. Those switches are anywhere between 70 and 75 cents USD, depending on your location in the world. We do have worldwide vendors. I believe there's 10 vendors in total. And we are already well on our way to MOQ, minimum order quantity. And I've gotten amazing feedback on these switches. I have not received any negative criticisms at all. Apparently they sound good on every type of configuration. Top mount, gasket mount, isolation mount, stack mount. They sound good on pretty much everything and most plates. Pretty much every plate I've seen them on. So might be a little biased there, but that's the feedback that I'm getting from the community. So if you're interested in getting those cream soda switches, be sure to check out that link that'll be in the description as well. But I think that's all I've got to say. Yeah, that's it. Awesome board. Definitely check it out. But until next time, y'all have a good one.